Hello everybody, welcome to our YouTube channel Maths Cradle. So in the previous video, we have discussed all the examples and the exercise of short answer type questions. And today we will discuss all the long answer type questions of the first chapter, class 12. So let's get started. So in the first question, a set A is given having three elements. We have to define relation A which satisfies these properties. Okay, so first of all, my set A is 1, 2, 3. These are the elements of set A. First, I will write all the elements of my Cartesian product A cross A. So this will be 1 cross 1, 1 comma 1, then 1 comma 2, then 1 comma 3, then it will be 2 comma 1, then 2 comma 2, then 2 comma 3, and this is 3 comma 1, 3 comma 2, and 3 comma 3. So these are the 9 elements of my Cartesian product A cross B. Okay, so now I want to define these relations. Okay, so basically relation is basically a subset of the Cartesian product. Okay, so we have to choose accordingly which subset we want. Okay, in first subset, that is in first relation, we want the relation should be reflexive and transitive, but it should not be symmetric. Should not be symmetric means if 1 2 ordered pair is there, then 2 comma 1 should not be there. We have to choose in such a way. Okay, so in this case, I'm defining my relation R1 as having elements. First element, suppose 1 comma 1, 2 comma 2, and 3 comma 3. These three elements should be there because it makes the relation reflexive. Now, to make it transitive, what we need to add? So now this relation is automatically what? This is reflexive and it is transitive, but it is symmetric also. So that means we have to add something here to make it not symmetric. Okay, so suppose I'm adding here 1 comma 2, 1 comma 3, 2 comma 3, and suppose 1 comma 3. Okay, so now after adding these elements, so here 1 comma 2 is there, but 2 comma 1 is not there. So that means it is not symmetric. Now I want to check is this relation is transitive. So suppose my first element is 1 comma 2, second element is 2 comma 3. These elements belongs to R. So does it implies 1 comma 3 also belongs to R1? Yes, 1 comma 3 is there. So that means I can say that my relation R1 is reflexive and transitive, but it is not symmetric. Okay, now in the second relation, my relation R2 should be symmetric, but neither reflexive nor transitive. If it is not reflexive and transitive, now for reflexive, 1 1 2 2 3 3 ordered pair must be there. But I don't want it reflexive. That means these three elements should not be there. Okay, suppose I am taking 1 3 and 3 1 and 2 1, or we can say 2 2. Okay, so this is not reflexive because 1 1 and 3 3 ordered pair is not there. Okay, now is it symmetric? Yeah, it is symmetric because 1 comma 3 is there and the reverse ordered pair 3 comma 1 is also there. So that means it is symmetric, and reverse ordered pair for 2 comma 2 is 2 comma 2. So that means it is symmetric. Now I will check for the transitive. It should not be transitive. Okay, suppose I am taking my ordered pair 1 comma 3 and 3 comma 1 belongs to R2. So does 1 comma 1 ordered pair belongs to R2? No, it does not belongs to R2. So this implies this is not transitive. Okay, so this is not transitive. So I can say that my relation R2 is symmetric, but it is neither reflexive nor transitive. Now in the third part, we have to take reflexive, symmetric and transitive. So we can take all the elements of A cross A because this set is symmetric, this is transitive, and this is reflexive also. So I can take R3 as 1 1 2 2 3 3. Then I can take 1 2 2 1. Then it will be 2 3 3 2. Then we are left with only 1 3 and 3 1. Okay, so this is my complete A cross A, which is reflexive. Why it is reflexive? Because 1 1 2 2 3 3 is there, right? So this is my reflexive relation. Then it is transitive, or it is symmetric also because for 1 2 2 1 is there, for 2 3 3 2 is there, for 1 3 3 1 is there, and reverse of these are these elements itself. So that means it is symmetric also. Now for transitive, we can take any two ordered pair. Suppose this time I'm taking two ordered pairs, 2 comma 1 and 1 comma 2. So 2 comma 2 also belongs to R3. Similarly, we can take any element, any two elements, and we can check for A comma C. So A comma C will also be there. So that means it is my transitive relation also. Okay, so now in the next question, a relation R is defined on the set of natural number n as follows. Relation R is all xy ordered pairs such that x belongs to natural number and 2x plus y should be equals to 41. We have to find the domain and range of the relation, and also we have to verify whether this relation is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. Okay, so first my relation R is defined as all ordered pairs x comma y such that x belongs to n, y belongs to n and 2x plus y should be equals to 41. Okay, so here I can write y should be equals to 41 minus 2x. 41 minus 2x. So what is the maximum possible value of x I can take? Because x will start with x is equals to 1. But the maximum value of x should be 20. Because after 20, if I'll take x is equals to 21, y will be 41 minus 42. Right? So this will be negative. And there is no negative number in the set of natural numbers. Right? So that means x should be greater than x should be greater than equals to 1 and less than equals to 20. Okay, so first I will write all the elements for my relation R. So if I am taking x is equals to 1, then y will be 39. If x is equals to 2, then y will be 37. If x is equals to 3, then y will be 35. If x is equals to 4, what is the value of y? Then y will be 33. Right? We can put the value here and we can check. 41 minus 8 will be 33. Similarly, if I'll put x is equals to 5, then it will be 31. If I will put x is equals to 6, then what is the value of y? It will be 29. For x is equals to 7, this will be 27. For x is equals to 8, it will be 25. For x is equals to, this is 8. For x is equals to 9, this will be 23. For x is equals to 10, what is the 10? 41 minus 20, that will be 21. For x is equals to 11, this will be 19. Okay, for x is equals to 12, this will be 17. For x is equals to 13, value would be 15. For x is equals to 14, what is the value? It will be 13 only. For x is equals to 15, it is 11. For x is equals to 16, it will be 9, right? For x is equals to 17, for 17, it will be 9 and this is 7. For x is equals to 18, the value would be 5. For x is equals to 19, the value will be 3. And for x is equals to 20, the value will be 1. So finally, we have that much elements in my relation R. Okay. So this is my whole set of elements of the relation. So first of all, I want to write the domain and range. So what is the domain? So in my relation R, the first element of the ordered pair is known as the domain of my relation. Okay, so domain here will be 1, 2, 3, 4 up to last element is 20. Okay, and what will be the range? The range will be 1, 3, 5, 7, all the alternate odd integers. Okay, so this will be up to 39. These are the domain and range. Next, we have to verify whether it is reflexive or not. Okay, so now for reflexive, suppose I am taking an element of the domain 1. Okay, so is 2 comma 2 belongs to R. So first we have to check for the reflexive. Okay, so now consider 2x plus y. Now 2x plus y means 2 and here x is 2 and y is 2. So this will be 4 plus 2, that is 6. But we know that 2x plus y is equals to 14. If this relation satisfies, then I can say that 2 comma 2 belongs to R. So this is not equals to 41. This implies my relation is R is not reflexive. Okay, next we will check for the symmetric. Is my relation R is symmetric? So now consider element 1 comma 39 belongs to R. So if 1 comma 39 belongs to R, but we know that 39 comma 1 does not belongs to R. So this implies my relation R is also not symmetric. Next we will check for the transitive. Is my relation transitive? So now for the transitive, consider an ordered pair of A comma B type. So first element will be 11 comma 19 and the second element is 19 comma 3. So if these two ordered pairs belongs to R, but we know that whenever we take A comma C, that is 11 comma 3, this ordered pair does not belongs to R, because 2x plus y, that means 2 into 11 plus 3 does not equals to 41. So this implies my relation R is not transitive also. So I can say that this relation R is neither reflexive nor transitive and not symmetric. Okay. Now in the next example, what we have to find, those two sets A and B are given. We have to construct an example of each of the following. Okay. So suppose we have two sets here. This is A and this is B. Okay. And the elements of the sets are 2, 3, 4. This is 2, 5, 6, 7. Okay, this is my A set, this is my B set. So in the first example, I have to construct a mapping that is injective also. Injective means one element will associated with one element only. So here I am taking my mapping as, suppose 2 is associated with 5, 3 is associated with 6, 4 is associated with 7. So this is my first mapping. This is my injective mapping. In the second case, a mapping should not be injective. Okay, a mapping from A to B which is not injective. Not injective means one element, two different elements should be associated with single one element. So I can take here that 2 is associated with 2, then 3 is also associated with 2, 3, then 4 is associated with 5. So in this case, 2 is associated with 2 and 3 is also associated. So this is not a 1-1 mapping. Okay. In the third case, I have to take a map from B to A. That means the first element of the ordered pair should belongs to B set. Okay. So the elements would be 2 comma 2, or I can take 5 comma 3, 7 comma 4 or 6 comma 4. I can define any mapping which is from B to A, but it should be function. Okay. So this is my another mapping from B to A. Okay, so we can define so many mappings. Okay, from in the first part, second part and third part also. Okay, now in the next example, we have to find an example of the mapping which is 1-1 but not onto, then not 1-1 but onto, which is neither 1-1 nor onto. Okay, so we have to choose such kind of mappings. So in the first case, give an example of a map which is 1-1 but not onto. 1-1 but not onto. So suppose I'm defining a function from n to n, natural number to natural number, and suppose fx is equals to x square is my function. So fx equals to x square is in a graph like this. So this is my x square function, right? Now I want these numbers from n to n. Okay, so n to n means we can take only positive numbers. We cannot take negative numbers. Okay, so now first of all, is it 1-1 function? 1-1 means every element of my domain should be mapped with only one element of codomain. So yes, of course this is 1-1. We can check that also. We can take fx is equals to fy. That implies x square is equals to y square. That means x square minus y square is equals to 0. So therefore x minus y and x plus y equals to 0. We know that x and y are two different points. Okay, so x plus y can never be 0. So therefore x minus y is equals to 0. So that means x is equals to y. Okay, so that is why we can say that it is 1-1 function. Now we have to check it is not an onto function. Why it is not an onto function? As 1 belongs to my set of natural number, right? So there does not exist any x in n such that fx is equals to 2x plus 1. So suppose I'm considering x is equals to 1, 1 will map to 1, 2 will map to 4, 3 will map to 9, 4 will map to 16. Okay, so what about the odd numbers? What about the odd number? There does not exist any pre-image for 3, any pre-image for 5, any pre-image for 16, right? So that means there is no pre-image for all the odd numbers. That is for the 2n plus 1 numbers. Okay, so that means this is not an onto function. Okay, so this is the example for the 1 function but not an onto function. Now in the second example, we have to take a function which is not 1 but it is onto function. Okay, so in this case I'm considering a function f defined from R to set 0 to infinity, and my function is defined as fx is equals to mod x function. So now in the mod x function I can see that this is my domain of the function is all the real numbers. Okay, so here we cannot say it is 1 function. Because why it is not 1 because f of 1 is also 1, mod 1 is 1 now, and f of minus 1 is also mod of minus 1, that is 1. So here for different points the images of f1 and f of minus 1 both are same, so that means it is not a 1 function. Okay, now we have to check it is onto or not. Okay, so now codomain of this function is 0 to infinity, but the range of the function, we can see that the range is also 0 to infinity. So codomain and range both are same. So if range and codomain are same, that means my function is onto function. So I can say that this is not 1 but an onto function. Now in the next case, the function should be neither 1 nor onto. So if I'm considering this is neither 1 nor onto. Okay, so consider a function defined from R to R and fx is equals to x square. Now we have considering the same function x square, but here we changed our domain and codomain. So by changing domain and codomain, the function ontoness in 1 can also be changed. Okay, so this is the graph for the x square function from R to R. Okay, so this is not a 1 function. Why it is not 1 because f of 1 is 1 square, that is 1, and f of minus 1 is also minus 1 square, that is also 1. So here 1 is not equals to minus 1, but f of 1 is equals to f of minus 1. So therefore I can say that it is not a 1 function. Now is it onto function? So now how we will check that? First we know that the codomain of the function, codomain is real numbers, and the range of the function is, range are the possible values of y. So values of y are only 0 to infinity. So codomain and range both are different. So different means this is not an onto function. Okay, this is not an onto function. Similarly, we can define another functions also from by taking different domain, codomains and different functions. Okay, so now in the 20th question, two sets A and B are defined. A set is all real numbers except 3 and the set B is all real numbers except 1. A function is defined from A to B as fx is equals to x minus 2 divided by x minus 3 for all x belongs to A. Okay, so we have to show it is bijective. So by what is mean by bijective? It should be 1, it should be onto, it should be both. Okay, so this is a bijective function. So first I will check for the 1, is it 1 function or not? So considering fx is equals to fy, so fx is equals to fy means x minus 2 divided by x minus 3 is equals to y minus 2 divided by y minus 3. So now cross multiply here, so this will be xy minus 3x minus 2y plus 6 is equals to xy minus 2x minus 3y plus 6. 6 is cancelled, xy is also gets cancelled, so we have minus 3x plus 2x minus 2y, and this is plus 3y is equals to 0. So this is minus x plus y is equals to 0. So this implies y is equals to x. So that means for same values of x and y, fx and fy is also same. So therefore I can say that f is my 1 function. Okay, next we will check for the ontoness. Is it onto or not? Okay, so onto means for every element of my codomain, there exists some pre-image, then we can say that it is an onto function. Okay, so now my y is equals to x minus 2 divided by x minus 3. So now we have to change we have to express x variable in terms of y. Okay, so now this is yx minus 3y is equals to x minus 2. So x into y minus 1 is equals to 3y plus 2. So x is equals to 3y plus 2 divided by y minus 1. So why we expressed x in terms of y? So now we have to check is for every value of y, x is defined. So we can see that if y is equals to 1, then x is not defined. Okay, we cannot define our value of x. So therefore, my range of the function is all real numbers except 1. So is my codomain and range are same? Yes, because codomain is also what? Codomain is b. b is equals to all real numbers except 1. So I can say that this is an onto function. Now since f is 1 and onto both, so this implies f is bijective function. Okay, so this is my bijective function. Now in this question, a set is defined from -1 to 1, then we have to discuss whether the following function defined on a are 1, onto or bijective. Okay, so we have to verify which of the following is satisfying the which condition. So let's consider first function, fx is equals to x by 2, and my function is defined from a to a. That is, f is defined from -1 to 1 to -1 to 1. Okay, first I will check for the 1. So let's consider fx is equals to fy. So this implies x by 2 is equals to y by 2. This implies 2x is equals to 2y. So I can say that my x is equals to y. For same values of x and y, the images are also same. So therefore, f is my 1 function. Okay, now next I will check for the ontoness. Is it onto or not? For onto, now for x is equals to -1, fx will be f at -1 will be -1 by 2. And if x is equals to 1, then fx will be 1 by 2. That means the range of my function is -1 by 2, -1 by 2 to 1 by 2, which is not equals to codomain, which is -1 to 1. So therefore, this function is 1, but this is not an onto function. So therefore, it is not bijective function. This is not bijective function. Right, because it is 1 but not onto. Now for the second part, gx function is mod x. So we can easily check mod x function. So this is my mod x function, and this is my point -1, this is my point +1. Okay, so we can see that for different values of, like for if I'm taking x is equals to -0.5 and x is equals to 0.5, for both the values, the fx value, that means the functional value would be same. For x is equals to 0.5 and y is equals to -0.5. X is not equals to fy, but x is not equals to y, but fx and fy both are 0.5. Right, so that means it is not a 1 function. Now next we will check for the onto function. Is it onto? Now the images of the function, here the range of the function is 0 to 1. Range is 0 to 1, which is not equals to codomain, because my codomain is -1 to 1. So this is not equals to codomain. That means it is not an onto function. So it is neither 1 1 nor onto function. Okay. In the third question, third part, the function is defined as hx is equals to x mod x. Okay. So here I will consider different cases when x1 and x2 for 1 1 function. Let us consider that x1 and x2 both are positive numbers. Okay, so in this case, I can say that x1 square is equals to x2 square. That is x1 square minus x2 square is equals to 0. That means x1 minus x2 into x1 plus x2 is equals to 0. But we know that if x1 and x2 both are positive, this value can never be 0. That means x1 minus x2 is equals to 0. That is x1 is equals to x2. That means for these two numbers, the function will be 1 1. Similarly, I can check for if x1 and x2 are both negative. So if both are negative, that means minus x1 square is equals to minus x2 square. Similarly, it will go like this. Okay, so I can check finally x1 is equals to x2. So this will be 1 1 function in both the cases. Now I will check for the onto function. Is it onto or not? Okay, so for this is onto. Now for x belongs to 0 to 1. Okay, because we have elements in between minus 1 to 1. So if x lies between 0 to 1, fx will be x square, and this is also lies between 0 to 1. But suppose I am taking the value which is less than minus 1, which is less than 0. For negative values also, function which is x square, but it will be minus x square because mod x will be negative now. So this will be minus x square. But here also it will belongs to minus 1 to 0. So that means I can take the range of my function as minus 1 to 1, which is equals to codomain. So my range of the function is minus 1 to 1, which is equals to codomain. So therefore it is onto function. Okay. Now in the last part, the function is defined as x square. The function is kx. Kx is equals to x square, and this is defined from minus 1 to 1. First I will check for the 1 1. Is it 1 1 or not? Okay, so consider x is equals to 0.5 and y is equals to minus 0.5. Again we will do the same thing. Fx is equals to fy, but x is not equals to y. So therefore f is not 1 1 function. Now is it onto function? For onto, now we know that this is the graph for the x square function. This is from minus 1 to 1. Okay, so the range of the function is 0 to 1, but there is no pre-image for the elements in between minus 1 to 0, so which is not equals to codomain. That means it is not onto function. So this function is neither 1 1 nor onto. Okay, so in this question, each of the following function define a relation on n. Okay, so we have to determine which of the above relation are reflexive, symmetric, transitive. Okay, we will check one by one case. In first case, the relation is defined as x is greater than y. X is greater than y, where x comma y belongs to n. So first, is it reflexive? I will write R for reflexive, S for symmetric, and T for transitive. Okay. So is it my reflexive relation? So if I am taking an ordered pair x comma x belongs to R, so can I say that x is greater than x? Is it true? Which is not true, obviously, because any number cannot be greater than itself. These numbers are equal, which is not true. Which is not true for any x belongs to natural number. So therefore R is not reflexive. Okay, next I will check for the symmetric. Is it symmetric? Suppose I'm taking an order pair x comma y. Okay, x comma y belongs to R. So x comma y ordered pair belongs to R means x is greater than y. So if x is greater than y, can I say that does it imply that x is also less than y, or this can be written as y is greater than x? Obviously not. If 2 is greater than 1, then 1 cannot be greater than 2, right? So therefore y comma x does not belongs to R. So this is not a symmetric relation, not symmetric. Now next, for transitive, let x comma y and y comma z, these two ordered pairs belongs to R. So that means x is greater than y and y is greater than z. So this implies I can say that x will always be greater than z. This implies x comma z belongs to my relation R. So therefore this relation is transitive. Okay, it is not reflexive, not symmetric, but it is transitive. Okay, next relation is x plus y is equals to 10. So that means we have to take that elements in the relation R whose sum is 10. So that means one ordered pair will be 1 comma 9, another it could be 2 comma 8, then it could be 3 comma 7, then it will be 4 comma 6, then we can have 5 comma 5, then we can have 6 comma 4, 7 comma 3, similarly 8 comma 2, then we can have 9 comma 1. So first, is it reflexive? Obviously not, because 1 comma 1 does not belongs to R. So therefore this R is not reflexive. R is not reflexive. Next, is it symmetric? So here 1 comma 9 belongs to R. So 9 comma 1 is also there. If 2 comma 8 is there, so 8 comma 2 is also there. For 3 comma 7, 7 comma 3, 4 comma 6, 6 comma 4, 5 comma 5, 5 comma 5. So all the reverse ordered pairs are there. For a comma b belongs to R. This implies b comma a is also belongs to R. So this implies R is symmetric. Okay. Next, we have to check for the transitive. Is it transitive relation? So suppose we have two ordered pairs, 1 comma 9 and 9 comma 1. These two ordered pairs belongs to R. But 1 comma 1 does not belongs to R, right? Because 1 comma 1 is not there. So therefore R is not not transitive. Okay, so this is not a transitive relation. So in the third part, we have to check relation R, which is defined as xy is the square of an integer. Xy should be the square of an integer. Okay, so this is xy is square of an integer. So suppose I'm taking one ordered pair x comma x belongs to R. So I can say that my x square is always the square of an integer. This is square of an integer x. Okay, so for any ordered pair which is of the form x comma x square will always be, this is square of an integer, x belongs to n. So I can say that my relation R is reflexive. Okay. Now the second thing is, if x comma y belongs to R, that means x into y is the square of an integer, right? So can I say that y into x, this is square of an integer. So if x into y is square of an integer, that means y into x is also square of an integer. Square of integer. So that means y comma x will also belongs to R. So that means it is symmetric relation. Now we have to check for the transitive. Let x comma y and y comma z belongs to R. So if x comma y and y comma z belongs to R, that means I can say that xy is equals to square of some integer. So some integer is m here. Similarly, y comma z is also square of some integer where m comma and r some integers belongs to z. Okay. So from here I can write that x is equals to m square by y, और यहाँ से z की वैल्यू क्या मिल जाएगी, n square डिवाइडेड बाय y. तो अभी मुझे क्या प्रूफ करना है कि x कॉमा z इज ऑल्सो द स्क्वायर ऑफ एन इंटीजर. तो मुझे क्या चाहिए, x इंटू जेड की वैल्यू चाहिए ना. तो मेरे पास x और z दोनों की वैल्यू है, तो यहाँ से मैं रिप्लेस कर सकती हूँ क्या x और z को. So x is m square divided by y into z is n square divided by y. So this is m square n square divided by y square, which is again an integer. This can be written as m into n by y whole square. So that means x into z is also the square of an integer. So I can say that R is transitive. Okay, so this is my transitive relation. In the next relation, what we have to do? X plus 4y is equals to 10. Fourth relation is x plus 4y is equals to 10. So अभी यहाँ मुझे ऐसे ऑर्डर्ड पेयर चूज करने हैं जिनमें x plus 4y का जो सम होगा ना वो मुझे 10 मिल जाए. So can I rewritten this as x is equals to 10 minus 4y? ओके, अब मैं y की वैल्यू को 1 से शुरू करूंगी. जब मैं y की वैल्यू को 1 लूंगी तो मुझे x की वैल्यू क्या मिलेगी? तो रिलेशन के जो एलिमेंट्स होंगे वो कैसे होंगे? जब y की वैल्यू 1 ली तो x की वैल्यू 6 मिलेगी, राइट. फिर जब मैंने y की वैल्यू 2 ली तो x की वैल्यू क्या होगा? 10 माइनस 8 दैट विल बी 2. अब क्या मैं y की वैल्यू को 3 ले सकती हूँ क्या? 3 लेने में मुझे क्या मिलेगा? 10 माइनस 12 दैट इज माइनस 2. सो नेचुरल नंबर्स में तो पॉसिबल ही नहीं है ना. तो दीज टू आर दी ओनली एलिमेंट्स ऑफ माई रिलेशन. अब मुझे बस चेक करना है कि ये दोनों रिलेशन क्या रिफ्लेक्सिव, ट्रांसिटिव, सिमेट्रिक है कि नहीं है. ओके, सो आई कैन से दैट 1,1 ordered pair does not belongs to R, so therefore not reflexive. Similarly 6,1 belongs to R but 1,6 does not belongs to R. so इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? This is not symmetric. ओके, सिमेट्रिक भी नहीं हुआ. अब मेरे को क्या दिखाना है? ट्रांजिटिव है कि नहीं है. तो ट्रांजिटिव के लिए मैंने क्या लिया? एक ऑर्डर्ड पेयर लिया x, y और एक ऑर्डर्ड पेयर लिया y, z. ये दोनों R से बिलोंग कर रहे हैं. इफ दीज टू आर बिलोंग्स टू z देन आई कैन से दैट माई x प्लस 4y इज इक्वल्स टू 10 एंड सिमिलरली y प्लस 4z विल ऑल्सो बी इक्वल्स टू 10. अभी मुझे क्या दिखाना है कि x प्लस दिस इज 4z, x प्लस 4z मुझे 10 के इक्वल मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा. ठीक है, तो अब अगर मैं इसको सॉल्व करूं तो यहां से मुझे क्या मिलेगा? इन दोनों इक्वेशन से क्या मैं लिख सकती हूँ क्या? x माइनस 16z विल बी, इस 4 को तो मुझे रिमूव करना है यहाँ से. तो अगर जैसे मैं अगर 4 को रिमूव करना है तो मुझे इस इक्वेशन को 4 से मल्टीप्लाई करना पड़ेगा, तब ये 4y बनेगा. फिर इन दोनों को सब्ट्रैक्ट कर देंगे तो यहाँ से x माइनस, बिकॉज 4y माइनस 4y कैंसिल हो जाएगा और ये 4 4 16 हो जाएगा. सो दिस इज x माइनस 16z इज इक्वल्स टू माइनस ऑफ 30. तो ये तो हमको नहीं चाहिए ना, क्योंकि हमको रिलेशन चाहिए x प्लस 4z इक्वल्स टू 10. तो ये हमें किसी भी हालत में नहीं मिल सकता. तो देयरफॉर x, z does not belongs to R. So this implies R is not transitive. Okay, so ये रिलेशन मेरा ट्रांजिटिव नहीं हुआ. So in 23rd question, a set A is defined from 1 to 9 and R with the relation in A cross A defined by an ordered pair A comma B is related with C comma D if A plus D is equals to B plus C. Okay, so in this way the relation is defined. We have to prove that my relation is an equivalence relation. Okay, so for equivalence relation what we have to do? We have to show that it is reflexive, it is transitive, it is symmetric. So first I will check for the reflexive. Okay, so let an ordered pair A comma B, we have taken an ordered pair A comma B which is related to A comma B. So if A comma B is related to A comma B, that means that this sum A plus B should be equals to B plus A, and we know that in addition numbers are commutative. For all A comma B belongs to A. So A plus B is equals to B plus A. So I can say that R is my reflexive relation because this is always true. In the second thing, what we have to show, it is symmetric. So now let us suppose that A comma B is related to some another ordered pair C comma D. तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि जो a प्लस डी है वो किसके इक्वल होगा? b प्लस सी के. अब देखो मैं a प्लस डी इक्वल्स टू b प्लस सी को मैं एक और तरीके से भी लिख सकती हूँ. c प्लस डी इज इक्वल्स टू c प्लस b इज इक्वल्स टू d प्लस c, d प्लस a. दिस implies I can say that c comma d is related to a comma b. बिकॉज अगर हम यहाँ पे वापस रिलेशन की डेफिनेशन लगाएंगे तो यहाँ पे क्या मिलेगा, c प्लस बी इज इक्वल्स टू d प्लस ए. So that means C comma D is related to, this is already there now, so C comma D is related to A comma B. So I can say that my relation R is symmetric, right? Now we will check for the, not check, we have to show that it is transitive or not. So let us consider that A comma B and B comma C and one more ordered pair, not P comma C, suppose C comma D and another ordered pair E comma F. So what we will do here, A comma B is related to C comma D, okay, and C comma D is related to E comma X. So here we did exactly the same thing as we did in case of the natural numbers or integers. We take two ordered pairs A comma B and B comma C belongs to R, then we have to show that A comma C also belongs to R. So here we have to show that A comma B is related to E comma F. Okay, so this implies that A plus B, A plus D is equals to B plus C, and this implies that C plus F is equals to D plus E. So this can be further written as A plus D is equals to B plus C, and D plus E, I can write D plus E first also. So this is D plus E is equals to C plus F. So now what I will do, I will subtract the corresponding terms. This is my left hand side, so I will subtract left hand side from left hand side. This will be A plus D minus D plus E is equals to B plus C minus C plus F. So I can write this as A minus E is equals to B minus F, because this D will be cancelled and this C will be cancelled. So this implies A plus F is equals to B plus E. So this implies A comma B is related to E comma F. So I can say that my relation R will be transitive relation. Okay. तो इस तरीके से मैंने क्या किया, ये रिलेशन ट्रांजिटिव प्रूफ कर दिया. ओके, बिल्कुल सेम तरीका करना है जैसे हम लोग नॉर्मल नंबर्स में करते हैं. इसी तरीके से यहाँ बस हमको ऑर्डर्ड पेयर्स में रिलेशन शो करना है. नॉर्मली हम लोग नंबर्स में रिलेशन शो करते हैं ना, यहाँ हमको ऑर्डर्ड पेयर्स में करना है. ओके, so in the next question, using the definition, we have to prove that the function defined from A to B is invertible if and only if f is both 1 1 and onto function. Okay, so here we will considering the reverse thing. Suppose I want to show function is invertible if it is 1 1 and onto. So I will consider, so first make a plot line like what we have to do. Suppose this is my function from A to B. Okay, so function is 1 1 if it is 1 1 and onto, right? 1 1 means every element should have only one image. Okay, every element should associated with only distinct element with the another set element. Okay, so suppose I'm taking not 1 1 but I'm considering my function as many one function. Many one means this is not a 1 1 function. Okay, so अगर ये many one function हो गया, अब मुझे बताना है कि अगर मैंने many one ले लिया तो क्या फंक्शन इन्वर्टिबल हो जाएगा क्या? जब भी मैं many one फंक्शन लूंगी क्या फंक्शन इन्वर्टिबल होगा? नहीं होगा. क्यों? क्योंकि A टू B तो फंक्शन डिफाइन हो रहा है, लेकिन जब B टू A पे बात आएगी, क्योंकि B टू A फंक्शन क्या होगा? इन्वर्टिबल फंक्शन होगा. जब B टू A में कंसिडर करूंगी तो B टू A में क्या होगा? फंक्शन ही नहीं बनेगा मेरा, क्योंकि एक ही एलिमेंट की दो इमेज मिलेंगी ना. अब अगर मैं इसको B टू A लूं तो B टू A मैंने क्या किया कि एक ही एलिमेंट की दो इमेजेस ले ली, जो कि फंक्शन की डेफिनेशन में ही पॉसिबल नहीं है. तो इसका मतलब मैं मेनी वन कंसिडर ही नहीं कर सकती इन्वर्टिबल फंक्शन के लिए, राइट? तो ये तो केस हो गया 1 1 की बात का. अब बात आती है ऑन टू की. क्या मैं ऑन टू लेना जरूरी है मेरे पास? अगर मैं ऑन टू ना लूं तो क्या होगा? अब सपोज करो मैंने ऑन टू नहीं लिया, ठीक है, ऑन टू नहीं लिया मतलब कोई एक एलिमेंट ऐसा है जिसकी प्रीमेज नहीं है, इन सब की प्रीमेज है बट इसी एक एलिमेंट की प्रीमेज नहीं है. अब अगर इस एलिमेंट की प्रीमेज नहीं है तो अब मुझे अगर इनवर्स मैप देखना है तो इनवर्स मैप में जो फंक्शन की डेफिनेशन होती है वो क्या बोलता है कि हर एलिमेंट की, जो डोमेन का एलिमेंट है ना, हर एलिमेंट किसी ना किसी एलिमेंट के साथ एसोसिएटेड होना चाहिए। तो जब मैंने अब इनवर्स फंक्शन देखा बी टू ए, तो ये वाला एलिमेंट तो एसोसिएटेड ही नहीं है ना किसी के साथ, तो इसका मतलब ये फंक्शन ही नहीं बनेगा। तो इन्वर्टिबल फंक्शन की तो बात ही नहीं आती। तो इसका मतलब वन वन भी होना जरूरी है और ऑन टू फंक्शन भी जरूरी है। ठीक है, तो बस अब इसी चीज को जो मैंने अभी समझाई उसको मैं लैंग्वेज में लिख दूंगी। इसको लैंग्वेज में लेके करना है कि मैंने एक बार ले लिया मैनी वन फंक्शन और एक बार ले लिया ऑन टू फंक्शन, दोनों फंक्शन लेने से कॉन्ट्रडिक्शन आ रही है हमारे पास, वही मेरे को शो करना है। ठीक है, तो मैंने क्या किया, लेट एफ बी फंक्शन डिफाइंड फ्रॉम ए टू बी अ मैनी वन फंक्शन। तो अगर ये मैनी वन फंक्शन है, अगर मैनी वन फंक्शन है तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि कोई एलिमेंट होगा यहाँ पर ए, जिसकी जो इमेज मिलेगी मुझे वो सपोज कोई P1 एलिमेंट मिल रहा है, और जो दूसरा एलिमेंट होगा एफ बी, उसका इमेज मुझे सपोज कुछ P2 नहीं मिल रहा, सेम मिल रहा है, क्योंकि मैनी वन है ना, तो दोनों एलिमेंट सेम ही एलिमेंट पे मैप कर रहे हैं, तो ये P1 ही रहेगा। ठीक है, सो अब जब मैं इनवर्स एलिमेंट डिफाइन करूंगी, सो फॉर इनवर्स फंक्शन व्हाट इट विल बी, f inverse p1 is equals to a and f inverse p1 is also equals to b. So inverse of p1 is also b. This is not possible, right? Because in this case function is not defined. So hence in this case inverse function is not defined. So inverse function अगर not defined है तो इसका मतलब हम यहाँ पे वन वन और मैनी वन फंक्शन नहीं ले सकते। ओके, सो देयरफॉर फंक्शन इज इन्वर्टिबल इफ एफ इज वन वन। ओके, अब ये तो हो गया वन वन का केस। अब बात आती है ऑन टू की, तो क्या ऑन टू लेना जरूरी है? तो हमने मान के चला, जैसे हमने यहाँ पे मान के चला कि वन वन नहीं है, वैसे हमने मान लिया नाउ लेट एफ इज नॉट एन ऑन टू फंक्शन। अब अगर ऑन टू फंक्शन नहीं है, हमने माना कि जो हमारे पास बी सेट है उसके अंदर कोई तीन एलिमेंट्स हैं, पी क्यू आर, चार मान लिए, कितने मान सकते हैं हम लोग, चार एलिमेंट्स ले लिए, और हमने माना कि जो रेंज है ना, ये तो हमारे पास हो गई कोडोमेन, और जो रेंज है हमने मान लिया कि पी क्यू आर, ये हमारे पास क्या है, रेंज के एलिमेंट्स हैं। अब रेंज के एलिमेंट्स पी क्यू आर है, मतलब कि जो प्री इमेज मिलेगी ना वो सिर्फ पी क्यू आर के लिए मिलेगी। सो हेयर आई कैन से दैट my f inverse, but here f inverse is defined, and we can say that there is no preimage of, there does not exist any preimage of element s, right? because s के लिए कोई भी क्या होगी, प्रीइमेज नहीं मिलेगी। तो इसका मतलब f inverse function is not defined. F inverse function is not defined. Here it is not defined. Okay. So that means function must have onto. So this implies function is onto. We cannot take it as not an onto function. So function is invertible if it is one and onto both. Okay. So now in the next question, we have to define fog and goff and FOF and G of G function in all the cases. Okay, if function is defined as function is equals to x square plus 3x plus 1 and gx function is defined as 2x minus 3. So in first case we have to find f of gx. So f of gx is basically f of gx, that is f of gx function is 2x minus 3. Now we have to replace x by 2x minus 3 here. So this is 2x minus 3 whole square plus 3 into 2x minus 3 plus 1. So this is a square plus b square, then minus 2ab, that is 2 to the 4, 3 is 12x plus 6x minus 9 plus 1. So this will be 4x square minus 6x and this will be plus 1. Similarly, I can find my GOF function, G of fx. So similarly, you can find that also. So other three parts you have to do on your own, because we have to do the same thing. We just have to replace my x would be f of x here. Okay. Now in the next question, let's start with the binary operation, which is defined like this. We have to find which of the following binary operation are commutative. So commutative means if suppose I'm taking a set of natural numbers and I want to know whether under addition that set of natural number is commutative or not. Okay, so that means a plus b should be equals to b plus a. Then I can say that it is commutative. So similarly, I have to check that. Okay, so now in the first part, what we have to do, a star b is defined as a minus b. So is this okay that a star b would be equals to b star a? Okay, so consider a star b and consider b star a. So b star a would be b minus a. So I can easily say that my a star b is not equals to b star a, right? Because there will be a difference of negative sign. So this is not a commutative operation. Okay, this is not commutative. In the next part, this is a star b is equals to a square plus b square. So if a star b is a square plus b square, so what will be b star a? B star a will be b square plus a square. This implies if we will do the square of the number and we will add them, that will be the same. A square plus b square is same as b square plus a square. That is a star b is equals to b star a. So therefore it is commutative binary operation. In the next operation it is a plus ab. In the third part, a star b is a plus ab. So a star b is a plus ab. So b star a will be b plus ba, or we can say b plus ba or ab, it is same. Okay, so is a plus ab same as b plus ab? Of course not, because here there is a difference of a and b. So a star b is not equals to b star a. So therefore it is not a commutative relation. Okay, so now in the fourth part, it is a minus b whole square. A star b is a minus b whole square. So b star a will be b minus a whole square. So if we take a difference and we will take a square, then this will be always same, right? Because the negative square is always positive. So a star b is equals to b star a. So therefore it is commutative binary operation. Okay, in the next example, a star is the binary operation defined by a star b equals to 1 plus ab. So first I have to check it is commutative or not, it is associative or not. So for commutative, consider a star b, that is 1 plus ab, and we know that 1 plus ab is same as 1 plus ba. So we can write it as b star a. That means it is commutative because a star b is equals to b star a. So it is a commutative binary operation. Now next we will check for the associative. Is it associative or not? For associative, consider a star b star c. So this is a star, b star c is 1 plus bc. So now again we will apply the same definition. So this is 1 plus a into 1 plus bc. So this is 1 plus a plus abc. Similarly, we have to check for the a star b star c. This is 1 plus ab, then star c. So this is 1 plus a into b, 1 plus a into b. Sorry, this is not star, this is multiplied. This is 1 plus c plus abc. So we can see that these two terms are not equal. So therefore, a star b star c is not equals to a star b star c. So this implies it is not an associative binary operation. Okay, so आज की वीडियो में हम लोगों ने सारे लॉन्ग आंसर टाइप क्वेश्चंस खत्म कर लिए. So if you like the video, hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Bye bye. Thank you.